Well, hello there, you beautiful person. This is Jaina, coming back to YouTube after a short delay with another Just Jaina episode. This one entirely unscripted and something that has become very relevant and significant in my life: sex drive and all things sex related. This is take 2 of this video, by the way, because my audio input complunked on the last video. So I will be trying to recount my words from that failed attempt and delivering them to you now. I see the little volume thing go like this when I talk, so I know it's working. Oh my goodness. Technology. Alright. Before we continue, if you are below the age of 18, you should probably not watch this video because this is very mature adult topics. Now, I think that my statement I just gave is quite bullshit because there are so many people under the age of 18 who need to see this, but due to liabilities and whatnot, I cannot advise people who are 18 or 17 and under to watch this video because I don't hold back. I mean, for the sake of others implied in this video, I hold back. I won't give details that are unnecessary. But by not holding back, I mean, I'm going to approach this topic head on. And consider this my third installment in my HRT hormone therapy changes. We had one at 1 month, one at 3 months, and this is the third one at just over 3 months, but specifically about the sex aspects, the sexual changes, the arousal, lack thereof, whatnot. So, I really hope you're excited to hear some of this because I am not afraid to just let loose and tell you everything that's on my heart and on my mind, and I believe that this is very important to know going in because I did not know what to expect. I didn't have any expectations or desires regarding sex and hormones. I will preface and foreshadow a little bit, and that it has a very happy ending in terms of where things are going. But getting there, that's what this video is about. So I'm excited, and this is take 2, so I'm not as ipiter. I'm not as ipiter as normal because I used a lot of my iptitude in the last take. That's like the worst feeling watching your recording after you've done it and you're talking with no words coming out. Yeah, kind of like that. So, I'm going to start. I have, or had a very obscenely strong active sex drive from a very early age. And as a little boy growing up with these weird sensations and feelings, you experimented and acted on them, which I did in abundance. I jacked off at my peak probably 6 times per day when I was around 15 years old. Yeah. As our roommate walks by, I'm like, hope they just didn't hear that. Anyway, the door is locked yet paper thin. Yeah, so I had a high sex drive. And then the unfortunate aspect of that was I was not a ladies' man. I was a professional, expert level BFF. I was girls' best friend. I was friend zoned, and I loved it. I found more fulfillment in just being near a woman and experiencing her life vicariously just by being around her, and I thought that was romantic attraction, and it was, but it was also an equal part of desire to have that experience as my own. So the only thing I could do is vicariously live that. So that took all the sexual tension and put it back into my bedroom, probably involving a blanket and or a sock, because I wasn't about to approach these girls with sexual desires, because if they rejected, then that might put our friendship on the line, and I didn't want that. I didn't want to be the BFF who gets un-effed in more ways than one. So, in my 20s, I finally started to branch out and actually experience sex with other women. And while my sex drive was extremely high, like, let's just say that I became fully aroused just by sitting next to one specific girl during an at-home movie date and just being next to her and feeling her like knee like, brush against my knee, and that set me off. And my posture was like to hide the bulge. Obviously, I'm just like, yeah, good movie, huh? And it didn't die down. And when we both rose at the end of the night, and I had to go, and I was still standing at attention, and we hugged goodbye. This awkward like side twirl hug. Like, yeah, that was how potent the sex drive was. And but eventually it was fulfilled, and eventually I did have sexual experiences despite being the underdog my entire life. I finally had sexual experiences, and I found more significance in being with the woman emotionally than being with her physically, intimately. In fact, I wasn't really necessarily turned on by that. And I wonder if it's due to my single player gaming sessions that I didn't know how to approach multiplayer, if you know what I mean. Then I got married. Well, first I met my wife, and we jumped into a sexual relationship, and this was the very first time I felt comfortable and not overactive or overthinking, and I was able to enjoy it fully, meaning it was probably the first time I was able to climax was with my now wife. Back then she was just not even my girlfriend. We were good friends, and my nickname was Benefits in her family for a few years because I was a friend with benefits for the longest time, because we both just got out of terrible relationships, and we were like, no more love, no more romance, and we fell in love that way, and we formed a romance, and it was really beautiful. And my wife is going to come on to a Jaina episode, and we're going to talk all about sex, and we'll give you so much more of detail in our sex life because we don't really have anything to hide. But until then, I have to keep it very vague because out of respect for my wife. And besides, this is not about our sex relationship. This is about hormones. I haven't even gotten to that yet. So, skip forward to actually 22, 2 years before I met my wife. At the age of 22, I had my very first dysphoric episode where my hair was starting to fall out. I became hyper aware of my voice, how gravelly and masculine it sounded, which still kind of does because I'm not using my voice training. And I really wished that it was possible for me to be a girl, and I hated my sex drive. By this time, I was so fed up trying to find women because I was still a virgin at the time. Like, I wish there was a drug that would just make my penis fall off or take away its power and take away its sex arousal. And I wish there was a pill, and I didn't know there actually was a pill. I thought, well, I was uneducated. I literally thought the only way to do that is castration, like become a eunuch. And my God, I think that's too extreme. My parents will never agree to that, so I have to deal with this annoying penis. I'm like, and that was around the time I'm like, I need to man it up because I was dysphoric and I wanted to become a woman. And that was my very first time I saw a transition timeline, and I fell in love, but thought that was, for some reason, unaccessible to me. I assumed that they could have it, but I can't because I beat myself up a lot and I had self-defeating thinking. Fast forward right now in life. I will say that the last year in my life has been horrible, and my sex drive as a whole has plummeted. We still had fairly frequent sex. I mean, not frequent, very consistent. And by consistent, I mean usually once every 2 months on the dot. Like, consistent. And every time my wife and I got together, it was amazing, magical, like the best ever. But we just didn't do that often because we both had our own battles that we're facing. And then I went off the deep end and on my breakdown and burnout, you know that story. And then my second wave of dysphoria, and this time I did something about it, and I came out to my wife, and after we got through the tough first month, where my wife didn't know if she wanted to be with someone who was transitioning into from male to female. After that, like that settled, she's like, okay, we can do this together. We had the talk. There's a chance I might lose my sex drive and not get it back. And this is a real risk, a real threat. Like, can I imagine myself never having that again in my life? Or having it be cut short or watered down? Is scary, but my gender identity and my desire to express my gender was far outweighed my desire to either self-soothe or have infrequent sex. I think it's worth it. And I asked my wife, and she had, she really wasn't feeling groovy about sex either, because we both have been going through difficult times, and mental disorders have a huge impact on sex drive because your brain is in like a self-preservation survival mode. So the last thing it wants is like something higher up on the pyramid of human needs. So we both said, you know what? If I lose my sex drive, we will figure it out. We will make it work together because we're a strong, strong, strong couple. Yes, we are. And so I got into it, started the hormones. Sure enough, within weeks, bye-bye sex drive. So gone. It went bye-bye. I never really had a thought about it. And this was actually really freeing for me for feeling like I was chained by my penis my whole life, and it having a mind of its own and wanting to be pleasured or whatnot at very inconvenient times. It was so nice not to have that. But I was also worried, like, well, okay, this probably means it's like dead. So I tried to self-soothe and didn't really work out. I mean, I could still sense there was something there, like beneath the surface, something that still could get aroused with enough effort. But it was like trying to clutch a mirage. It's trying to catch a mirage and hold it, and it's just all the mist disappears as you smother it. Basically, it was like an echo. My sex drive was an echo of a thing. And I purposely forgot about it. My wife forgot about it. We forgot about it for those 3 months leading us to today. So this is where the updates reports comes in. I have been getting something back. And last night, I realized I have a new sex drive. I'm recording this video because I have not seen any talk on this topic. And I've heard things from people on Reddit and whatnot about sex and how there's turned off and then turned back on after the new sex hormone kicked in. But I never knew what that meant until last night when my wife and I did a lot of experimentation. And it's been frustrating for us because while we aren't sexual creatures anymore, we still crave that intimacy. And I'll let my wife continue on the details because I have something I want to say, but it'd be best if she said it in a future episode. So what I learned last night is the female sex drive, the whole system, is so much more... Okay, I'm good. I might be foolish by saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. It might be far more superior in my eye. And that's because I'm a woman. Women typically have an attachment for their sexual system. I was a woman in a man's body trying to make do with a masculine way of having sex, which is very aggressive and like tense and like full of pressure that has to release. And not me. It was not soft and delicate, and like it wasn't like leaves falling in a breeze in autumn. it wasn't like that, and I wanted sex to be more soft. But being the male role in all of my sexual encounters, I had to play an aggressive role. And I did not like that, and I never have liked that, and I felt awkward doing it. Last night, I finally got to experience a very sensitive, sensual, warm, intimate, inviting, comforting, safekeeping sexual experience. And it wasn't even a full experience. My sex drive, I learned, is returning. But in the sex drive returning, I was looking for what I was already used to. And that was my major mistake. I was looking for the male signs of arousal, male signs of wanting to orgasm and be with another. And when I opened my mind to, well, what other feelings are going on inside that I'm not paying attention to, I realized as we were experimenting with each other, holy crap, there's something going on, but it's so gentle, so soft, like a whisper, I almost missed it. So when I found that sensation of the warmth and it's like a tingly that goes throughout your entire body, but it's so gentle and so soft, at least at my current place in the sex drive spectrum. I'm certainly not returned to full force, but I might be a third of the way there or even half the way there. I don't know, but what I experienced last night was phenomenal. I did not orgasm. I couldn't even come close. But it's so interesting how my penis turned into something completely different. Obviously, it might not come to a surprise that I did not like penetration. I tried it. Oh, I did not like it. And now more than ever, because the sensations I felt were not pleasurable. It was like skin, like doing this, skin rubbing skin. It was not pleasurable. My wife liked it, so I of course I enjoyed it because she did. But for me, I was not being sexually fulfilled, and I was like, damn it, I don't have my sex drive. And that's when I had that thought, like, why don't you just let your wife poke around and see what she could find? And she did, and she had a little vibrator thing, and she just tried different things, and give props to her. I love my wife. Like, I could tell she was a bit defeated that we couldn't really have that traditional sex experience, but not defeated like I'm giving up. More like, okay, I have more work. We have more work to do figuring this out, and we will find it. We will find it. But nobody told me about, or maybe they tried, about how the structure of the penis turns into a sort of clitoris or not clitoris, vagina, with the head of the penis being like the clitoris. As male, living as male, sexing as male, I hated the head of the penis because it was sensitive and not in a good way. Just like the funny bone is not funny when you hit it. Yeah, it's like the head of a penis is not enjoyable to me. But when last night's experience, when she tried the vibrator on the penis head, it was the weirdest, most like feelings up and down the body, like warmth and this tingling stuff, but very subtle, kind of like if you were to get into a hot bath on a cold day, like just like it's you relax, like wow. And I put a pillow over my head, and she tried different things, and it was an exotic experience. I didn't orgasm, but I didn't need to. As male, when you can't orgasm, that's blue balls. But as female, I just wanted to be in that moment forever. Like, she could have kept going and going. And while I didn't orgasm or get close to it, there was liquid that came out, and it was all clear, and it wasn't that like sticky as semen is. It was a little sticky, but very clear, viscous, and I don't know what that is, and I don't even know if that's like pre-ejaculate or if that's the equivalent of the moisture that comes from my vagina when it gets aroused. I don't know, but I sex didn't end for me after we split our ways. That in like got off the bed. Sex didn't end for me because as I was taking a shower, I felt those sensations still. Like I felt safe, warm, and loved. And that might be a role of oxytocin to provide those sensations, but even my best sex I've had as male, I never had anything like that. Whether oxytocin or the sexual stimulation still like having an effect on your body 15 minutes after you're done. Like that's unheard of, and I still don't know what it is, but I've got to say I am really excited for where this transition takes my sex drive. Because if this is half or a third of what is to come, that changes everything. And my wife and I will continue to work together to figure out how we could please each other, but also be pleased in our individual ways. And what I'll tell you now is she doesn't like traditional, like, lesbian ways of pleasuring another because she's self-conscious about those kind of things. And by that I mean eating out. She's very self-conscious about this. And I'm sorry for those who know my wife personally who are watching this, whether friends or family, because it might be TMI for you, but hey, I warned you. This would go all in. And so yeah, that's my 3-month, 2-week update on sex drive. Excited for what the future holds. I can't wait to experiment more. Like the thought of experimenting with my wife, even now, as I just even talk about it, it creates those sensations in my body. And they might be sensations of arousal, but of a feminine sort. Whereas, as male, everything was just came and went. Like, as soon as sex ended, my mind was not there, my heart, my emotions was not there. It is so freaking obvious now why men are quick to go to the shower or even get dressed and leave, and women want to sit there and cuddle. I finally feel both sides of that for the very first time in my life, and it is trippy. Cuddles after intimacy like that, the best feeling. The best feeling ever. So, if you're considering this, transitioning, if you're, and asking questions and whatnot, just know, like, don't expect anything when it comes to sex. And you almost have to ask yourself, okay, what if I do lose it? And what if it doesn't come back? Or what if it takes me a long time to find it? Because I was very lucky to find it on my very first experiment with my wife. Like, I found it right away. I'm like, okay, that's what it looks like. This is how it functions. These are the sensations. This is maybe why it's happening. But if you don't know those things, then you won't really be able to hear for the master's call if you're not listening. And that's why it's good when transitioning in general to keep an open mind on everything. Do not go into transitioning with preconceived notions on how you think you might feel or act or what benefits you might have or how you might look. Like, stay away from FaceApp and UCam or what it's called? Snapchat? Maybe Snapchat? Yeah. Stay away from filters. They can give you a general idea of what you could look like, but if you're like me, it's nothing like what's coming to be. So yeah, don't have any preconceived notions. You are literally throwing yourself at your gender, the identity of choice gender, and you're giving it, the hormones, full permission to make any changes. On Mac, it's like, do you give this program permission to change the computer? and you have to type in the password, well, you're giving hormones express permission to do whatever the fuck they want, and they will go crazy and they will blow your mind. And you might not get these benefits you wanted, but you'll get all of these benefits that you didn't even consider. That's what makes it worth it in my mind. You have to surrender to that journey of mystery, and you will find so much enlightenment, so much fulfillment, and like life will never be the same. But hormones aren't best for everyone, and if what I said sounds cool, don't expect that to be your story. I really hope it is. I hope yours is better, but you can't say, okay, I'll just relearn and have sex eventually, because you might not. I think I've heard stories of people losing their sex drive forever, and that's very sad. But most of those stories, the person who lost it forever didn't really care about it to begin with. So, and I think that has something to do with it. Hey, come back here, wifey. We're gonna do an episode together on sex drive. Oh,
Coffee.
it's 5 o'clock and she's in the afternoon and she's having coffee. Yes, we'll be back for an episode by. Just kidding. You walk out with saying goodbye, taking the whole coffee pot with her. Oh my gosh, you gotta up your game, wifey. Yeah, these are really bad, really bad for your kidneys, but I like them. All right, if you have any questions, please reach out. Go through YouTube and do the private messaging if you don't want to ask a personal question in the chat. Or you can email me. Okay, ready for this? Jaina Pyro. So Jaina, Pyro. It looks like pyro, but it's pronounced Pyro. Jaina Pyro at gmail.com. So Jaina, Pyro at gmail. And you can ask me your questions, and I will send you a wall of text. Because I love writing. I love giving assistance to others. It makes my day when I make someone smile, or give them encouragement or inspiration, or even solve an existential crisis for them. Makes me warm and fuzzy. But not like female arousal warm and fuzzy. A different kind. That's silly, Jaina. That's silly. So yep, questions, send them my way. I'm excited for you and for me. I'm like, on this topic, I'm like, when's the next time we get to experiment again? Because that was kind of fun in more ways than one. Yeah, it's 5 p.m. and I'm sipping one of these. Caffeine really does not affect me. It's a placebo effect. That's why I have these, because it makes me feel like I'm drinking something that will crack me out. But it doesn't. On my birthday, I had 4 of them. But that's probably TMI, and you're like, got your blood work done. I know. I did. It's still perfect. Kidneys are good. Okay, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, let me know. And subscribe to this channel, because it would make my world a better place. And when you subscribe, send me a message and I'll check out your profile, because I like to get to know people when I have the time and motivation to do so. Okay, Hello Kitty says goodbye. Ta-ta, au revoir, adieu, sayonara, Jim Boy's Tacos. Bye-bye.